Let us continue with the program. I'm sure you had a great coffee break. You're able to share amongst yourselves. And we will continue now with our schedule, talking about communications among the Vincentian family. I have the pleasure of presenting those who will speak. Francisco Fernandez Chento, Javi Chento. He is a lay Vincentian, member of the St. Vincent Paul Society, and affiliate to the Congregation of Mission. Graduated from the Open University of Barcelona. He is bilingual, Spanish, English. He has a lot of Vincentian websites. We are Vincentians. He is the founder of that webpage. Actually, at the moment, he's responsible for the communications in the Vincentian family. He knows a lot about Frederick Ozanam. He has written a lot of books from them. He is also a musician. He has a lot of CDs. He is director or founder of Trovador, a Christian community music place. And on his other half is Monica Villar. She is a part of Vincentian lay missionaries. She's a psychologist. And she works at the Seminarian as a Vincentian. That she remembers since she was very young, 2 years old, as she had a first gathering when she entered the Daughters of Charity School. See a big statue of the Virgin Mary, the Miraculous Medal. And since then, the Daughters of Charity, Vincentian Marian Youth, and now Vincentian lay missionaries have really touched her, as she has the Vincentian seal upon her that continues to guide her in her path and also her family's path. Her husband is also a Vincentian lay missionary, and she has 4 children. She assumed the commission of being the treasurer of the coordinating team of Vincentian lay missionaries 2 years ago. She believes in the shared mission and in the spirit of Vincentian mission as an instrument of God to better serve our lords and masters. They're in their hands. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. We're going to be speaking in Spanish and other languages. We don't speak in other languages. We're going to speak about the communications office among the Vincentian family in the world. We're going to invite you to meditate about this aspect that has a lot to do with collaboration and development of systemic change, as Father Maloney had mentioned yesterday, and also the work that we do with the poor around the world. This morning, before we start, I'd like to give you some information, some data. The people from Ozanam.tv who have been been placing our gathering through all the Vincentian sites, and the streaming that's going on online, or it's being done through a lot of pages. We directly are doing it. We're sending to 8 different pages, but there's also other places that are sharing all these numbers. We have seen 4 at least so far, 4 pages. With just these 4, yesterday, we had around 7,000 people watching us around the world. 7,000 people, and only just these 4 pages were able to reach us in one moment during the day yesterday on our, gathering. Let's give applause to that. 7,000 words, a lot of people, don't you think? It's a challenge that we have achieved, and in just in one day. We'll give you applause to those of our brothers and sisters from St. Vincent Paul Society or are part of Ozanam.tv that are doing this work for us. That way it could reach others that are not present amongst us. Thank you so much. To the translators that we have a work to do sometimes that nobody appreciates. That's all right. Now, let's start. 50 years ago, we live in a world that is globalized through communications. 50 years ago, and 2 months ago, the first email was sent. Only has been 50 years ago that our life started changing. We live in a world that is so social and global. The social communication, technology, the internet, everything that has been computerized are part of our common language now. Much of our people are connected to the internet. The last statistics that we have from October from last year, 2019, and they say 58% of our world has access to the internet. There's no equality here. If we have 58%, the majority live in first world countries, Europe, United States, Canada, etc. 95% in Europe have access. 94% in the United States. 53% of the people, they use telephones, cellular phones, to connect with the internet. Our technology, our tools of processes, informational processes that are changing society. They are changing society. And they promise to continue to do that to limits it and forms that we can't even think of yet. The change in technology, it's almost weekly. What today we have, tomorrow it disappears. There's many examples that we can give. It's only been 50 years since the first email. Our social communication is an activity that has its rules. As physics has, football has, or even construction of buildings. Let's see some of these rules that we should use so we can better communicate better in the internet, and especially in different means of communication. How many of you use social media? How many of you? Look at the number. Look at the number of people using it. 80, 80% use social media. So 80% of us use social media. Well, we'll see later if the use that we do, how are we carrying it out? It's really well done. As you're going to see during our talk, Javier, he's the effective part, and I'm the affected part. I want to start with talking again about my desire to reach one of the dreams that Father Maloney talked about, because even he doesn't know, he has reached many of my dreams on the Vincentian level. I grew up with him, and now I'm growing old with him. Father Maloney told us that he dreamed that the Vincentian family may use the new technologies, taking advantage of the youth and teaching all of our members so they may use the technology by a good way and a critical way. And I think that we must assume that challenge. As John Paul II told us, we have to contribute to close the gap, the new technologies of information technologies and expression. And those that now don't have the access to those new means, those technologies, so that technology may not be another source of this inequality and discrimination. Can we complete that dream? This has a lot to do with our heart of the Vincentians, because access to information can be a new source of poverty. All of us who live, who have the possibility with good development technology, we know by our experience that many of the things we can do through the internet. To go to the bank, or buying our things, our needs, many things we can accomplish through the internet. Education, formation, and at the same time, there are many people who do not have that opportunity. As St. John Paul II said, there's a new motivation for us, and a motivation to separate those who can and those who cannot. The rich and the poor. And that speaks to us as a Vincentian family. If we want to talk about to have a presence as a Vincentian family, as a specific family, as individuals, as Vincentians, we must combine our webs with the social media. We have to dedicate time, resources, people. We have to actually renew them constantly. It won't be good for us if we're present on the internet, the social media, if we don't always bring them up to date. We all have the experience that we go to a page that in the past has interested us, and we go back there, and there's nothing new. We go back again, and then I don't go back ever again because there's no novelty, there's nothing up to date. If we don't continue to update our pages, we disappear in the practice, in our daily use of the internet, if we don't actualize or update our pages. Sorry. It's very important for us. We create a web page for the congregation with very few news. A new space. John Paul II used it, and many other people have also. And like St. Paul, in the Acts of the Apostles, announced the gospel in the public spaces to the Epicureans. We have the opportunity to express ourselves in the new means of communication. And there are many people that ask us, of Christians who ask us, they act the same thing they asked Paul. Can we know what's all about that new news that you're talking about? People can ask us, can we know what is that charism, that Vincentian charism that you're talking about? As St. Paul's, we can respond. The internet, it's a meeting place that we can explain who we are. It opens possibilities to announce the gospel, pronounce the gospel. We are being present in these spaces that are completely open, where we can proclaim a hopeful word, a merciful word. And the world needs these words of mercy and hope. All this is fine. Let's talk about action. What do we have to have and take account in? The first thing is the social media are open spaces. The second thing is something that we talked about before. We have the clear identity in our social media. As Vincentians, what figure do we want to give? What image do we want to present? What are we sharing? It's very evident that faith is very important for many people, but also in many places it's a controversial place also. And that is why we have to publish something on the social media. We have to have formation. We have to take into account the velocity, the quickness. We have to be very capable of changing. A detail that we have to talk about. Before you publish something or write something, ask ourselves three things. Am I giving some light? Is what I'm saying, can it be helping someone? Are going to make people think, to meditate on what I'm saying? We have to have a positive attitude. Let us take care of the quality of the conversation. Let's not go into discussions or arguments that take us nowhere. We're trying to win people, not to win discussions. Use many audiovisual means, photos, videos. Those are people take in more than just our text, the words. Our social media can help us to reaffirm who we are as a group, as a family, as believers. Social media also helps us to be in communication. We don't have to. We won't have to repent or because we weren't having the quickness to be present on this social media. Our gathering now, for example, without the internet, could we have organized this all without it in a year? Without the internet? Impossible now. Our social media and helps us to communicate, so that we can gather, we can collaborate, that we can identify ourselves, that we can see our faces. This has much to do with this. The social media is not the important thing. The important is the communications, communicate with the people, give meaning, relevance, heal those broken hearts and the minds that are lost. We have a great work to do there. There's a lot of poverty on this form. This is a time now. In Greek mythology, you have the god Kairos, a young man with long strand on his hair, but completely bald behind on the backside. He is a visible god of opportunity that passes quickly and only be caught by the toughs as they come. When it just passes, you can't grab him because he's bald. It's the opportune time, the time now and present. Let's not waste the time, the present moment of our history. Let us revise our evangelization maps. We are a Vincentian family that continues to grow, to go forward, and it won't be of any help of use what has been explained to us, the committee, all those great works that are being carried out in all the world by different members of the Vincentian family. It will be no use if we can't connect with the people now, if we don't communicate. And social media are instruments to let people know what's going on in the world, what we are doing, but also to tell about the necessities and the problems that are going on in every country. What does this image tell you? What you have two microphones that you can use on each side of our meeting room. What does this image tell you? We're not just going to be honest. What does this image tell you? What do you think about when you see this image?
Ajá, un puente.
A bridge doesn't communicate anything. It exists, but does not have any use. Please go to the mic. Please go to the mic, please, if you can. Or Javier can repeat maybe for us. We can't cross to the other side. What else? It's a bridge, does not connect, that doesn't take us anywhere, exists, but you can't go across it. You can't use this really bridge. It's useless. You can't transport it. You can't move it. Thinking about the Vincentian family now at the moment, I imagine that this bridge and this moment, it helped sometime at this moment, but things change. Like many things, that the river cause changed, but we continue to leave the bridge where it is, even though it doesn't help the new reality. So it helped at this moment, but the river changed its cause, and now it does not move. We use so much energy and resources to create this, but for nothing. Let's continue. Things that we are told, all of it is very important. First, it's a bridge that's useless. You can't use it for anything. And many efforts have been made to construct it. Secondly, possibly, as Jasmine says, in its time, its moment when it was constructed, the rivers passed under the bridge. And it was very useful then. But time has changed things. But our bridges haven't. And our bridges today, maybe, are not useful. On the communications aspect, there's something also similar happening. The times change quickly. But we continue to use the same means that were useful in its moment. But now they don't take us anywhere. So that is why we have to think about, and we have to have formation in the new forms of communication so that we can reach people, so that we can cross the bridge and go to that other world, so that other people can be involved with us, be on board with us. There's more people that help us to change the systems, that the poor may stop being poor. Now, how can we evangelize on the internet? We are not going to directly or to function to the poor. We're not just going to satisfy some needs. We're also going to communicate the gospel, transmit that God loves them. Before we go deeper into this, I want to ask a question to Javier. Because of a lot of curiosity, what is what the faithful are looking for on the internet? And he says, I don't know. There's one thing, something happened, or hardly nobody noticed 2 months ago. For us as a Vincentian family, it's very interesting. This could be very interesting. This was what happened. This was on the 9th of November, 2019. We didn't look at we didn't make this. Google did this. St. Vincent de Paul is the most searched for saint in Google. Google made this discovery, or we don't want to just say this because we're proud of this. It's our own, but this tells us what people are looking for in this manner, in this form. I insist it's not vanity. That Saint Vincent is the most looked for saint, that even more the Virgin Mary. We don't want to say we just feel a little bit of pride. This, for all of us as Vincentians, it's a responsibility, and we're proud of it. But most of all, a responsibility. If people are looking for Saint Vincent, we have to respond to it. We are the ones that have to respond to what they're truly looking for. Thank you, Len. As a Vincentian family, if we have this great responsibility, how are we going to use the means of social media, internet? We're going to explain some of the important elements to have and count of when we use the internet. We're just going to read them to you. I'm sorry. What is the message? Something true, real? Is it about the dignity of the persons and contributes to the common good? I'm going to make a pause here. Sometimes the messages, even our messages, are true, are very sour. Very sour. The messages touch hearts and has social doctrine and takes into account social doctrine of the church and maybe the means. If social media internet or the means that we're using, it's the adequate one for us. We have to think about the people we want to speak to. Let us get used to use the social media to share and spread the good, the greatness, and the joy of the gospel. Let us be joyful. We come to this world to be joyful. Let's do that also on the social media. Our interaction, our relationships with others. Let's give an opportunity to the people can speak to us. Let us take an interest in the people itself, in the people. Let's have a conversation. Let's tell a story and maintain it in the time now. They're not photographs, like a video. They're dynamic, they're moving. If we tell one story today, that story, it had been probably changed or got worse in 2 weeks. If we talk about today, maybe the center that Father Joe was talking about, and the things that Father March and Father Flavio and those experiences, that's the photograph of 1 year ago. We want to continue to see what is the photograph today. So we have to maintain it updated, and being faithful to our effective dimension. Let's act on the internet with great respect, with love, with empathy. To really take interest in the other and walk with them. We're going I'll get you 3 minutes now to speak with those of 2 or 3 around you. We have 6 questions here. I'm going to read them to you. I'm asking this different. Ask one of the questions. Just one question of these 6 questions, please. We give 3 minutes so you can discuss one of these questions. Pick one and discuss it. First, what are we as Vincentians sharing on the social networks? What are we sharing? 2, does it fit our charism? 3, is it of interest to other Vincentians? 4, can it be of interest to the people that are not Vincentians? 5, how do we tell it? Do we just post a few pictures or videos without any explanation? Or do we try to explain something, what's happening there? And the 6th, what evangelical vision do we have behind our message? What are we telling there? What is the gospel speaking to them as they see our message? So pick one of these questions and discuss this with 2 or 3 people around you. Starting now.
Un minuto. 1 minute.
1 minute. Un minuto.
Volvemos al grupo grande.
Let us now gather again as a whole. Nobody wants to listen to us now. Let us come back to share. Let us continue. Let us continue. Please. Back. Okay, let's go back to the general audience. We have other things to share with you. Anybody? Does anybody want to share one thought concerning the question they had? Anybody want to share one thought? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. In our parish in Charlotte, Carolina Norte, Charlotte, North Carolina, the last 15, 20 years of the parish's life, we haven't had any presence on social media. Now we have a website, but it hasn't been been updated. This last year, we have started to create a new webpage to be more active on the social media. It's a great necessity for our community. It's a great need that we have seen that is on our city, in our area, in a place where we live in the United States. Any church has a webpage, and then where we can communicate, that we can know the parish, that our events that are happening, but we didn't. Todo era a través de la palabra, no? Word of mouth we had before only. But now, we've begun to inform the community, that we can have that process of evangelization, because not only for ourselves, it's also for others that are looking and they don't know where to find what they need. We have the great, our parish always goes first. It's the first one when you look for a Catholic church on Google. We didn't have our web page, and now we do have some things that people can achieve. So we see that it's very important. Good morning. By catechists from Mexico. We have the opportunity and to be working for over 10 years with an educational platform, and now for 5 years ago, upon the university in Mexico gives us a diploma for people who have a discapacity or some incapacity. That has helped us to unify our catechesis at this time with different groups that we have in Mexico. And not only with our groups only, but also groups that even if they don't belong to the Vincentian family, they can be nourished by the way we work evangelization, catechesis for people with incapacities. So that it's a great reach out for other people that are not part of the family. My name is Paula. I work in an association, CASB, in Peru. I use a lot of the social media. We put a lot of things that we do. I work with a lot of adults. We have adults that are extreme poverty, and some of them, people who had, and now they don't have. The change they had in their lives, they become depressed, and they become anxious. They don't knock on the door so we can help them, but we go out to meet with them in one way or another. We give them nourishment, food. We give them clothes, hygiene, workshops. And then we put this also on social media so that others can be united to us in our works. It doesn't have to be a Vincentian family, but what we do, we share. And we also have activities, and we invite others so they can also participate. We also have formation, spiritual formation, and we invite also to our house, and we can interact with them, we share with them. We learn by experience, we learn by people sharing their stories. We just put videos and pictures. They also talk to us and tell us their ideas, and they say, you can do this, you can do that. What do you think about this? What about that? How about if we could share with other people? And that way we could grow in some way or another, spiritually and our works. We have now 80 adults, and then we have on the social media 5,000 members on that social media. Two things: information for ourselves, inside for our parish, for example. There's many levels of communication. There's towards our own selves as an entity, like a branch, like a parish, as a congregation. We have our proper way of communication. There's communication between us, between our branches, between our commissions, between the Vincentian family, and even in the church. There's also external communication to the world, towards even in the people who don't believe, but have a sense of this openness to the poor. We also have to have that communication. It's important for us to have a word to say. We have that word, the importance. we have a very important word as a Vincentian family, for example, in the United Nations. We have to take care of all the levels of communication. Let us continue. Thank you so much for what you have shared with us. Let us talk a little bit to the past so that we can go our future. Let's talk about our models, our founders of the Vincentian family, and someone else. They're continuing to ask us as Vincentians, our spiritual, that we have to be creative. I am knowing creativity, that we're very creative. I see that in our days. We have great names in other congregations already. All those groups that are coming in and being founded now. What are we going to look at? First of all, let's look to St. Vincent de Paul. What happened with Vincent? There was two moments that are very important in Vincent's life that changed his ways. One was the confession in Folleville. And then the second part was his stay in Châtillon. St. Vincent, they didn't only kept it, he didn't only have that inside himself, he had to communicate that, he had transmitted to others, share with others. In 40 years, St. Vincent constructed his own web of social web. He wrote 30,000 letters. More than 3,000 letters. Imagine St. Vincent and St. Louis on WhatsApp. Can you imagine them? If he wrote 30,000 letters, how many messages through WhatsApp he could have done? He was all day. He could have been doing WhatsApp all day. Let's copy them. He created webs of interaction between the different confraternities. And people that were consecrated and people who were lay people in a moment of history and when no one was doing it. He knew the importance of communication among the people, identity, and care, desire, and even those that did not share that same spirituality, but they could give something to the cause. He also continued to better the methods that he had. He not only used for the letters, he had a lot of waves of formation during the 30-year war. He kept sending reports hand in hand to conferences and communities. He gave 4,000 pamphlets, monthly pamphlets. All this, many people in the heart of France could have access to some information that couldn't be gotten by another means today. And what we are talking about in this meeting room, the whole world can receive. What impact can we have with our words by our gestures? Not only St. Vincent and St. Louis were those in charge of this transmission of love, because they were webs of love towards the poorest, but also to those who do not know Jesus. Not only them. That's why I want to ask Frederick Ozanam, how did he use the means of communications of his time? Here we are, superiors, generals, and presidents, associations. We have 97 members of the Vincentian family here. Each one of us has different founder, foundress. And I am convinced that each one of you can tell us how Your founder or foundress used the communications in their time. I am truly sure that you can tell us something. I'm pretty positive. I'm going to tell you a few words how Frederick Ozanam used it. He was one of the members that founded the Vincentian Society. Frederick lived in the first part of the 19th century. There was no telephones. He didn't know the train until he was older. He had a lot of handwritten letters. We hardly use anything now like that, writing letters. We hardly do that anymore. Frederick died when he was 40 years old. Very young. And a very short life. Frederick, he had time to use the communication tools at this moment, his time, to communicate. I was going to say the gospel, and that's true, but also from denouncing the situation of the power of the French at the first part of the 19th century, not only the poor, but also the workers at this time. Industrial revolution at the time where workers were oppressed, they made slaves. There were 15-day hours of work, 6 days a week with vacations of any kind, where the worker in the factories, textile factories, had to work, the man, the woman, the wife, and also many times the children, because they hardly received monies. They had it very hard to maintain themselves. There was no syndicates at the moment. A great poverty, even though not work. Frederick used the means of his time. He wrote a lot. We conserve 1,500 letters. We wrote many books, short and large books. There's 11 volumes of his complete works. 11 volumes of his works. And he wrote in many newspapers. Even now. He also founded one, The New Era. That was the name of his newspaper. He didn't stop there. He was a professor at the university. He gave many conferences. He used the means of his time, and he used them intensely. How did he use them? This is the style of how he uses things. In a letter that he had to one of his friends. Let us learn, above all, to defend our convictions without hating our adversaries, to love those who think differently from us, and that God can be served today as he has always been served. Let us not complain about our time and more about ourselves. Let's feel less discouraged. Let us be better. He was very clear that the style of how you communicated was very important. Love, mercy, optimism towards all. Even those who are not thinking like we think, adversaries, maybe those who do not believe. Let's be a little more technical. Let's have some points. Look into the future. What can we do? What can we do at this technology forum? The different branches of the Vincentian family have the challenge to work together, to walk together. We have assumed that we are collaborating in some way or another. We're already collaborating. We have to collaborate more, yes. Already on the way. We're already working on that. Now, at this moment, let us talk about let's try to reach the goals of the communications. How has that been carried out? Javier is going to explain that for us now. I'm not going to go deeply into details because that'd be too long and boring too, right? You have on the application, the app, you have a document, 27 pages, I think. You have it in English, French, and also in Spanish, at least. I don't know if anything has been tried to other language. But the heart of this document, the communications plan that the committee approved in January 2019 to better our communications internally between ourselves, the branches, and also externally to our world. So I'm just going to read some of the actions that were considered as a priority important for us. There's many other document points in the document. I'm going to read some of them. What is like the tone? What is the spirit of the document? Consolidate the people, the team that is in charge of communications. They may be united and have meetings that represent the Vincentian families and the national and local level. If you have in your communication associations somebody who is responsible for communications, I will ask you for you to introduce me to them. Send me their information or something. So I want to have the people who are in charge of communication of our different branches, that we have a common, contact with each other. It's important for us. Many of us who work in communications, we can really help each other, and we could work better when working as united. If you have anybody, please, that is in charge in your congregation, your branch of communications, please give them my information so they can contact me. Consolidate the action of communications commissions in the Vincentian family. They are working firmly. I'm also working with them. Give these people the resources, material and human resources, so they can take forward those the communications internally and externally again, so we can better the communication. Support the Vincentian family so that we can have formation amongst the community on Vincentian materials, giving this commission the materials so they can be published on the internet. Promote the different the branches acts for different languages, different languages. We actually have at this moment we have 6 languages: English, French, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, and I think Polish. Last year, the access to publish in German. The access to publish in German. I have nobody on my team who speaks German. On the Commission of Communications Commissions of the Vincentian family, I have nobody that speaks German. I need somebody who's German so that we could start publishing in German. Write that down. So the German people, please think about it. We also have an objective to help those branches that ask it so they can better, that they can have their own web pages, things that are for their own branches. The society, the church, the works and initiatives of the Vincentian family. Let others know about us on a general level, and also initiatives that are happening on the local and group branches. Sorry. For me, this is very important point. It's very important for our brothers and sisters of the Vincentian family, as also that we inform them what's happening around the world. Many reasons for that. First of all, information. It's also a denouncement. If we're talking about a poverty in one world, we're also denouncing that situation that there injustice is happening. And also, we're also helping other branches of the Vincentian family, the church, or even society to take action and to also follow examples. And something that is being done in Ethiopia maybe can have the same idea, can be done somewhere else. Or they can contact them and they tell them, please explain, how are you helping the children with some kind of discapacity? Do we share not only formation but information of the works we're doing? Denouncement, collaboration. And going with this, we're going to share and use the materials that are already prepared by the different commissions and realities of the Vincentian family. We may hear about the names like Systemic Change, VFCAP, Homeless Alliance, and our United Nations presence. There's a lot of materials already that are out there, that are prepared, so that we can share them with others and the use of this material. Let us define strategic global communication. What do we have to communicate as a family? How do we do it? Where do we do it? We have we can provoke an impact. So what St. Vincent did about St. Vincent, who was the most looked for saint, we have to think now, how, when, how, where. We are offering the way we think, the kingdom of God, the construction kingdom of God as we serve the poor. Number 10 is to promote and create counters where people can know the charism at local, national, or as we're doing today, or internationally. 11, that people may know the Vincentian charism and its relationship with the social doctrine of the church. The social doctrine of the church, we all know what that is, but it has very Vincentian roots. In the modern social doctrine of the church, it's just a little detail that it says with the Rerum Novarum and Leo XIII and the last part of the 19th century, one of the people that we used to consult was a Vincentian. It has a lot to do with us, it's a lot to say to us. And finally, let us continue to help others to the Vincentian reflection. And what did the charism continue to tell us today? We ask all the members of the Vincentian family here present to write constantly those reflections that God is making you do now. That will be very useful. We can publish in our different means of communication. We can ask them to reach many of the places of the world. The Word of God can get to others. Another 3 minutes. Following Father Maloney. One question I want to make you. This is for yourselves. No, you don't have to share with no one. What 3 proposals, concrete proposals, concrete proposals that you can evaluate did I reach it or not? We would try to. No. Have I reached to? No. Concrete proposals so that we can improve our internal and external communication in the Vincentian family. Or just in your branch. What can you come up with? Proposals, concrete proposals that we can improve our communications internally, also towards the world externally. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, so think about it. You don't have to share.
Luego preguntaré y pondré nota. Okay. ¿Alguien quiere compartir con nosotros?
Does anybody want to share? Does anybody want to share? First, all organizations, we see how everything is so important. We are very joyful to know different branches. And there's a risk to be here. I feel that maybe have a sheet where each one of us can tell us what we do, what we have, our Facebook pages, whatever I have, and then we can have directly. That could be something we can have the contact between each other once, so we can share. Not just photos and videos, we can also share other stuff. So if we just have a sheet where everybody can sign and offer their information on what we have so that we can reach these sites. Other ideas, when the next congregation will be important for us to maybe that each branch can bring a banner with photos. Then we can have some dates, some information where each of us can offer, and we can see what each one offers, like banners and photos and things like that. We can have a different congress and do that. We have to have that order. As we see different congregations and what they do, it could be like a nice forum. It could be important for the next meeting. And we could learn of what people are offering. It could be visual, more or less. This idea that having a directory where we have all the webs and our social media, it's very interesting. And maybe in one moment we have to do that. And I would like to do it with the people who are in charge of communications for each congregation, each branch. Jasmine? Rivel.
Okay, well, thank you for the great job, Javier, Monica. But for me, the communication is a little bit controversial here, because communication by itself, for me, it's a tool. It's not an objective by itself. So what is the sake of communicating if we don't have something to communicate with? So I think the first question should be about what we should communicate. I mean internally now, not external. So as concrete proposal, I think we should wait till the end of this gathering to see how we will collaborate. Now we have to create, I think, platform of communication, that we have the tools, we have the kits, we have all what we need so we can communicate easily. Maybe it could be WhatsApp groups, it can be anything that we already have now, the websites, everything. But in order to communicate in the true meaning of the word, I think we should think first about what do we do together. And the communication will be the tools of it, not in the reverse way. It's not the project by itself, it's only a tool for me.
I want to do say something, sorry. In our Vincentian tradition, we always talk about the coin. Charity and evangelization. An announcement, proclaiming, and also the charity. I think that communications is part of evangelization and also charity, because it denounces the realities that need to change and just realities that exist in our world. And I believe that in our dynamics of communication, in our collaboration, we'll give steps that are simultaneous to different things. We don't just create a team and then we communicate. No, it's not. FAMBN has a long history, 15 years. And it has been going as it's been growing, the team was growing also. We have been learning how to use the tools of communication as we were walking, as we were communicating. And we have a commission by 15 members, 14 members, branches. They are dedicated to utilize the tools that we have to communicate what you want them to communicate. But we want to go farther. That is why these proposals that I talk about are our communications team. I believe that we can be apart from others. We can collaborate with others, with all. And we're on this walk, on this journey, we are constructing the forms of communications, not by theory, by as we walk, by actions, by things that are being done. Bless you. We don't have a lot of time. I want to invite you, the proposals, that if you can, you put them in the applications. When it says feedback, if you have proposals, write them there. If you don't know how to do it, I would really appreciate that you write in a little paper your proposal and for us to see. That's great importance for us to see and to how can we better serve through the Communications Commission. Let us finish. On this means of proposals, we're going to give you 6 to finish off the talk. 6 proposals. 6 proposals that are very concrete ones. And one is directed to the superior generals, to the superior generals and superiores, and also us presidents of the associations, that would do it with great care and love, that you may receive them with great desire to. The first proposal is to have even one time in the semester, one member can send us information from their branch. Many of us have, all of us have this to share. Can you bring us one news every semester? So we have created some news for our branches, our means of communications. You don't have to write 20 pages, not even 4, not even 2. We just have something to say. I think that we have a lot to say. Things that are happening, realities that we're living, things that we're experiencing, sorry. 200 words, maybe less. Sometimes the short messages are the ones that are more effective than the long ones. Maybe you could put something visual, a photo or a video. One news from your branch every semester. What does that mean? One means 90. Imagine more, 90, no, it'd be one good news from every branch of the family. If every branch would send one thing every semester, we'll translate it, we'll make it work for us to reach it, and we'll share it with all. Because the mission of the Communications Committee is that we may know each other as different branches, that others outside of our community may know us. Vincentian leaders, do you see that it's possible? Do you think it is possible to animate many of the members of your branches to collaborate with an article, a reflection, something, formation that could be useful for the whole Vincentian family? We always say, we need formation. Everybody says we need formation. And sometimes we receive formation in our branches, but many times the formation amongst the family is very important. The different spirituality, the different way of understanding our charism is very interesting. Can it be possible that somebody in your environment, in your branch, or your collaborators can make a reflection, a meditation about any of the themes that are about our charism? That could be interesting. We don't have to be every week. There's some people that do that already. We have somebody or two that give that every week. But it could be once a month or once every 3 months. I just want to have those bridges, create those bridges so the water can go under it. Is it possible? The second point is we need collaborators that they could weekly collaborate with us on that level. Javier has talked about somebody who is German. Do we know somebody in our branch that could be united to our commission? I just gave the example of a German. It's very clear. But any of you who I can publish in Chinese or in Arabic or in flamenco, Flemish. I will be happy to help you to start off and form the Vincentian page in that language. But since I do not know those languages, I can't set that up. But if you have anybody in those languages, others, we could set it up. In our communications, is there anybody can be responsible for communication? Can we name that person? Give him a name? Where it's important for us to have contact, and that's something that's been suggested today, with the different people who are responsible in our family, so that we continue to work in collaboration. Also on the web, not only in the physical action, but also on the internet. We talked about this. We already started something like this. I think in April we had our first virtual meeting with the persons in charge of communications. 12 branches were meeting last time in April in our first meeting, and now amongst us 12 of us, we continue to have that contact. It's very fluid, it flows easily. Yesterday, we communicate so they could distribute this the signal from this meeting. The Vincentian family continues to have contact with many other means of the communication, of the church communication and the world, with our office, our press office. It is available for us when we have to inform a very important event. Our press office, is in charge of communicating to all the general means, Catholic means, Vatican News, whatever it may be, about important events. This event has already come out of many ways of communication. Our Elena, who's here present amongst us. Elena, please stand up. She's in charge of our press office. Elena? She is Italian, and you can count on her, call upon her, any news that is important that you want people to know about. You can speak to her whenever you want. She also speaks English. And our last proposal is very creative. Let us remember, that's why call us always to be creative. They identify us because we're very creative to the infinite and more and farther. In 2019, we started the music festival. It's a means through the song that we can motivate our young in our branches. There's the Spanish one had 48 songs from 14 countries were proposed for the music festival. At this moment, the same festival is open now in English. We want them in other languages. Maybe we'll have other in Chinese and Portuguese, German, Swahili. Can you, Vincentian leaders, animate the youth from your branches to participate? Youth. We're not saying the adults can't do it, but we know, I can give witness to it, that the music, that's a very powerful instrument for youth. So this tool was in Spanish was very good. It was very fruitful in Spanish. We wanted to continue to be fruitful in other languages. So there you have the web address for that festival. animate your youth, your kids, spiritual youth, even if you have 60 years old, to participate in these kind of things, because we may have songs that we could all sing. Our songs. We have some already, but let's have more. And involve the youth in this way. I am not going to continue to talk now. Let's not forget our traditional means of communication. And why do I say that? The technological one is Francisco Javier. I am the human one. I am the human one here. We can't forget the traditional means of communication. We can't permit that the machines are human contact. We know each other 16 years already. I am sure that when we share in Toronto with the World Youth Day, where the seeds where we have grown and permits us to be together in this communication, the confidence that I have in him, the responsibility that I have for the Vincentian family, and my commitment as missionary, Vincentian missionary, so that I can be here today. Social media has not done that. Not the screens have not done that. My encounters with Javier has helped me to be here and to be able to communicate the way I'm doing it today. And I could transmit that I have for him and for the Vincentian family. And let's not forget, there's so many beautiful experiences in the radio and television and writing from the Vincentian family. Let's not forget those means. These are our pages of the family. Fambin, Vincentians, we are Vincentians, Vinformation. There's many more. If you don't know these, we invite you to know them. Fambin has 6 languages. Vinformation. Those here we have PowerPoints and other visual means there. The information. Vincentians, we are Vincentians. A lot of information. In spirituality, Vincentian spirituality, also in 6 languages. And finally, and the Vincentian Family Office that you have there also on the right. If you don't know these, we invite you to know them. And from there, you may know all the different social media outlets that we have. Thank you, and let's go forward.
Well, I think your enthusiasm and expertise have gone a long way to help us, to convince us of the need for more and better communication, both within the Vincentian family and beyond it. Thank you so much. And I am hoping that you will be available to speak with individual people and groups throughout the rest of the time we have together to answer any questions that people might have. Yeah, thank you so much. Well, this ends a very full and very fruitful morning for us today, and I'm just so grateful that we've had such wonderful input from you and from the speakers that we had this morning from the Vincentian Family Office. What treasures we have in this family. Is this not true? Yes. We're going to take our lunch break now. We are free from now until 3 o'clock. Please be back at 3 so that we can start our afternoon session on time. Please remember that if you were not able to get the photographs from the Vatican representative this morning, they will be back this afternoon, as well as the people from the books on the symposium will also be available for us this afternoon. Thank you.